Okay, Box still leading 1917 against England on the stroke of halftime. We'll keep you posted. Don't go anywhere. But we're going to talk a bit of cricket now because the KFC Mini Cricket in partnership with Cricket SA has served an important part of introducing the game of cricket to young boys and girls. And this form of cricket does not discriminate between the rich and the poor. And this version of the game is available to all economic classes. And to talk to us about one of the most successful development programs in the country, we have roped in Edward Khoza, who's the head of cricket pathways at CSA, and he joins us here. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Taviso, and to the viewers at home.
Yeah, I want to say I'm a product of this, but during my time it was Baker's Mini Cricket. Is it still the same program?
It is still the same program. It's been going on for 42 years, and it's quite an overwhelming aspect when you reflect on the achievements of the program itself.
Yeah.
And it's modified, it's give us the access. We reach out to communities, and the biggest thing is that it's driven by volunteers, and which are teachers out there. And it was recently, we've just celebrated some of them that are actually going on pension at the national seminar. Oh, nice. And it was quite heartwarming when you see someone who's going on pension, has served the program for over 42 years, for example, and they were in a flight for the first time, been taken to a destination, because some of the things we take it for granted, some of us, because they happen to us on a daily basis. But these volunteers are the foot soldiers that makes this program alive.
Yeah, I used to go for the biscuits for Baker's Mini Cricket. So do they go for the KFC now, the kids, or they just go to play cricket?
No, I think I'm also one of those that actually joined the sport purely because of the biscuit and an orange that Saturday. But at this point in time, I must say, partnering with KFC for the last 15 years, they've taken the program to another level and with us. And I think what is quite encouraging, people are always reflected KFC from a chicken perspective, but there are much more healthier approaches to it, and they are probably one of the best partners we have in the program. And what they've done in terms of elevating the status of the program is overwhelming, because now you, even through some of their outlets, you can be able to get information regarding the program. And when you look at where their outlets are, they are more or less countrywide.
And what's noticeable now is that there are a lot of young girls getting involved in the sport also. You must be happy with that also.
No, most definitely. I think one thing people might not be aware of, for example, when you look at the Protea women's side, especially in the last 3 years, over 80% of them have came through the KFC Mini Cricket program. And so we are the biggest benefactors of that aspect, and it's quite good to see women taking bat and ball. And I think the performance of the Proteas women, especially reaching the final in 2023 here at home, as well as now most recently, their achievements have actually encouraged more girls to take up bat and ball. And it's something that we're looking forward to, because I think in later years to come, where women's sport will become a commercial venture for our sport.
And well done to Cricket SA for offering them professional contracts. I think they led the way here before the talk about equality started. But who are the other success stories of this KFC mini program? I know Ayabonga Kaka has spoken that she's one of the success stories. Who else? No,
I mean, you have plenty of players. I mean, let me just start on the male side. People might not be aware. I mean, when you look at the 2014 World Cup winning side that was led by Mike Graham, had Kaiso Rabada into it, Andile Petlukwayo, for example, he's a product of this program. And we were fortunate enough at the recent seminar where we were awarding the stalwarts and thanking them for serving the game for so long. Andile Petlukwayo was a guest speaker there, and what was quite heartwarming, one of the people that we're giving an accolade to was actually the one who introduced the game of cricket to Andile. And just to see them embracing is something that's unscripted, and it was something that was overwhelming. So you get lots of players that have been introduced through the game, because that squad of 2014, 15 of them went to the World Cup, and of which 12 of them have been actually played through the KFC Mini Cricket program. And of recent times, when you look at your likes of Sune Lees, for example, you look at whether the Shibnams that have retired, those are the players that have came through the program and got the opportunity through the KFC Mini Cricket program.
And then how do the programs work? How do you make sure that you reach areas of the country that maybe think that they are forgotten, in the underprivileged areas? Because I think the previously disadvantaged areas, because I think that's one of the key elements of this program. You are able to reach places where others don't reach.
Yeah, I think we're blessed to have the 15 members that are committed around the country wanting to drive this program. And as Cricket South Africa, through our members, we have dedicated coordinators that drive the program, that work with the teachers in that environment. government and even some of the volunteer parents that wants to get involved. And they are more or less reporting on us to us on a monthly basis. And we have more or less drive strategies with them. And the important thing is that whatever we do at national level, we filter it down. And the key fundamental issues is that because the program is heavily dependent on volunteers, you almost have to have your finger on the pulse and make sure that they are well informed in terms of everything that we do. And especially of recent times, you start speaking about safeguarding, and especially now that you need to make sure that with volunteers being involved in the space, dealing with kids and all that, that the kids have been given a positive experience, that they're not dead coming through and experiencing bad issues within the sport.
What is that experience? Because do you want them to enjoy the game? Are you introducing them to the game, or do you actually want them to take the game seriously at that young age?
We drive one philosophy. It's all about fun and enjoyment at KFC mini cricket level. And everything from there, as long as the game gets introduced in a fun and enjoyable format, and you pick up other skills in terms of leadership, working with other kids and all that within the space. And what is most importantly for us as Cricket South Africa, as much as we're looking for players, it creates an avenue because people can become an administrator like myself. And then also there are other opportunities for people to get involved in match officiating or coaching. But what the program does, which you cannot measure, is that it creates a fans for life for the sport if the game is introduced positively to them.
And looking at the professional game, as the head of Pathways, are you involved in making sure that the talent goes through to professional level?
Most definitely. So I've just been recently promoted. So I'm the executive for domestic cricket. So I'm in charge from professional cricket now right through to grassroots. And one of the major focus is just to make sure that the talent that we're bringing through filters down to the next level. And especially of recent times, we've just had schools in Daba. We invited 54 schools around the country that are contributing to the production of players in terms of the women's under 19 as well as boys under 19. And based on the outcomes of that in Daba, what we're picking up is that there's a lot of buy-in because we want to become consistent medal contenders at under 19 level, especially for boys and girls, because our women are going to Malaysia now for the second edition of an under 19 World Cup. And when you look at some of the players that are going there, like Karabo Meso or Sheshni Naidu, for example, they've been actually made their debuts in the Proteas of recent times, and they're going to that under 19 World Cup. So there's big expectations from our side.
Yeah, the other big talking point has been maybe the lack of black batters coming through the system now. Does that also fall under you? Do you work in that space? How do we address this challenge, and why is it a challenge after so many years?
Well, you know, by design, cricket is quite an expensive sport. And when you look at that, it was always easier back then that there's a correlation between infrastructure as well as equipment. So if you don't have the right equipment and you play in inferior infrastructure, it does have a barrier, especially from a batting perspective. And we've more or less since 2016 started paving a way to try and make sure that we close the gaps. And when you look at from under 19 level, you can see the players that are coming through. I mean, of recent times, when you look at the Proteas, when they went to Bangladesh, a guy like Tony Dizosi as a Black African, for example, has scored his 100, and he captained the SA under-19 in 2016 at the World Cup. So some of the guys are starting to move into that space where you find that they can start putting their hands up. And then we also, of recent times, through the assistance of the board, there's a specific focus and a budget allocation. And we've roped in some of the players that you find that have the experience of on-field side of things, the likes of Temba Bavuma and Kazondo, provide the mentorship aspect in terms of on-field to some of the identified batters that we have, because we have developed a framework. There's a specific focus and we're driving the results, because I think one of the key fundamental issues for us to have representative teams, you can't have a Protea representative team heavily on the bowler side. We need to diversify the skills, and hence there's a bigger focus on Black Africans. And I know of recent times, when you look at the domestic cricket, you see the likes of Sinokwane, for example.
100 recently.
Double 100.
Kijima got 100.
100%. Yeah. And those are some of the key issues that we need more of those performances to come to the fore, and that these guys get selected for SAA and SA Emerging so that we can test them against the world best and then just take it from there.
So do they need more opportunities at domestic level? And just to be backed also?
You know, role clarity is very critical. I mean, when you look at some of the players that are performing consistently, it's purely because the coaches has a specific role for them. And when you look at predominantly when it comes to some of the Black African talent, you find that the guy this year performs at number 4. And then the next year when you think you're looking for more performances from him.
Yeah.
There's a shift in coaches. They put him in at 6, and next minute they're putting him at 1. So we are more or less massaging some of the things with our domestic coaches to make sure that there's clear role clarity for some of these guys and that they get prepared to perform in some of these roles. So we more or less have a buy-in from our domestic coaches, and they're assisting us in that regard. And I'm confident that by the time we hit 2027, we're definitely going to have a representative team for the World Cup, because that World Cup, it's a must.
Yeah, it's a home World
It's
Cup.
here at home.
Yeah.
It can't happen the way we did in 2003, for example, when we bombed out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it's very important for the country to support us on this one.
Yeah, and gone are the days where you'll pick a black player and then he doesn't bat a ball.
No,
match.
those days are gone. You can see with the other guys that have been given an opportunity now. Cricket is, especially now we're playing 3 different formats, and there's a major event every year. So we're going to be tested from a depth perspective. I mean, of recent time, the Protea women are going to a 50-over World Cup next year. The men are going to Champions League as well, so Champions Trophy. So those type of issues are things that are coming into the fore. But for now until 2031, there's a major event every year. So we are going to be tested from a depth perspective, and we need to make sure that our system is agile enough and we broaden the base. And that's why playing the likes of India and the results that went by, there's a lot of things that you can take away from the result as well.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds like you've got a clear strategy, and well done on your promotion, and we look forward to seeing the work that you'll do over the next few years.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Edward Khoza, head of Pathways at Cricket South Africa, just breaking down what the plan is going forward and the work that they're doing with KFC and Mini Cricket.